You know, there comes a time in every man and woman's life where you're going to be in a time of trouble. Or you're going to be going through a personal tribulation, or something may be happening in your life where it might be the worst time in your life. And it might not be anybody else around you at that time to depend on. It might not be no other human flesh around you. It might just be you in a room by yourself or wherever you could be. And in times like that, we really need to learn how to depend on the Most High and Him alone. And you might not be anybody you can call, anybody you can run to. That's what we call your midnight hour. And in your midnight hour, we all have to learn how to depend on the Father. We have to get to that point, because you never know what may happen, or what could happen, what situation you might be in. So I'm going to read a couple of things about the midnight hour. I'm going to focus on two people in particular, that being the Messiah and King David. I'm going to start off in here Psalms 38 and see what King David say about his midnight hour when he was running from Saul and things of that nature. So this is Psalms 38. I'm going to read the whole chapter of this. O Yah, rebuke me not in thy wrath, neither chastise me in thy hot displeasure. For thine arrows stick fast in me, and thy hand press me sore. There is no soundness in my flesh because of thy anger, neither is there any rest in my bones because of my sin. For my iniquities are gone over my head, as an heavy burden they are too heavy for me. My wounds stink, and are corrupt because of my foolishness. I am troubled, I am bowed down greatly. I go mourning all the day long. My loins are filled with a loathsome disease, and there is no soundness in my flesh. I am feeble and sore broken. I have roared by the reason of this quietness of my heart. Yah, all my desires before thee, and my groaning is not hid from thee. My heart paineth, my strength faileth me. As for the light of my eyes, it is also gone from me. My lovers and my friends stand aloof from my sore, and my kinsmen stand afar off. Now you see that right there? It says, my lovers and my friends stand aloof from my sore, and my kinsmen afar off. That's how it is. When you reach your time of trouble, you're going to find out who really your friends are. You're going to find out who really down for you. But most of the time, when you go into your trouble, those people that call themselves their friends, they out the door, man. Real talk, they out. And you see that right there, what he said right there. 12. They also that seek my life lay snares for me, and they that seek my hurt speak mischievous things, and imagine deceits all the day long. But I am as a deaf man, heard not, and I was dumb as a dumb man that opened not his mouth. Therefore I was as a man that heareth not, and in whose mouth are no reproofs. For in thee, O Yah, do I hope, though I will hear, O Yah, my Elohim. For I said, hear me, lest otherwise they should rejoice over me. When my foot slip, they magnify themselves against me. For I am ready to halt, and my sorrow is continually before me. For I will declare my iniquity, and I will be sorry for my sin. But my enemies are lively, and they are strong, and they that hate me wrongfully have multiplied. All right, you see the trouble he's going through there. He says, them that hate me have multiplied. You maybe can relate to that in your life. Maybe you've been in a situation like that. See, when you were down, it seemed like your enemies just came out of nowhere. They also that render evil for good are my adversaries, because I follow the thing that is good. Forsake me not, O Yah, O my Elohim, be not far from me. Make haste to help me, O Yah, my salvation. Well, we see there how David describes this time of trouble. We know what David went through with Saul and his sons and things of that nature. But let's go to another place. Let's go to the Messiah. Let's go to Yeshua HaMashiach to see his time of trouble. All right. This is Matthew 26. And we're going to read verses 30 to about 46. This is right before the Messiah was about to be taken and about to be crucified. And he went up to pray with him and the disciples. And we're going to see what happened here. Let's break this down. Then says Yeshua unto them, all you shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. But after I am risen again, I will go before you into Galilee. Peter answered and said unto him, though all men shall be offended because of thee, yet will I never be offended. Yeshua said unto him, verily I say unto thee, that this night before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me 3 times, or thrice. Peter said unto him, though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise also said all the disciples. But we know how that ended and how that happened. Peter did do exactly what the Messiah said he was going to do. Then cometh Yeshua with them unto the place called Garith Shimna, and said unto the disciples, sit ye here while I go and pray yonder. And he took with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, and began to be sorrowful and very heavy. I want you to pay attention to this here. This is the Messiah here, but yet it said he was sorrowful and very heavy. Okay? Then said he unto them, my soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here and watch with me. And he went a little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. You see there, even the perfect Messiah, even he was troubled during this time, in his time of trouble. But let's look and see what happened, where he got his strength from. And he come unto his disciples and find them asleep, and said unto Peter, what? Could you not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray, that you enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. Okay, so we see here, he asked them to help him pray and come pray with him, but they kept falling asleep. So what is that equivalent to? The Messiah was alone in his midnight hour. He couldn't even depend on the disciples to stay up and pray with him. So it was just him and the Father. That's all he had. And that's the point of this message here. That's all you're going to have when your time of trouble comes as well, is you and the Father. There might not be anybody else around you to depend on. 42. He went away again the second time and prayed, saying, O my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, thy will be done. So he went for the second time and prayed. And he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. See what I mean? He couldn't depend on them at this time. It was just him and the Father. And he left them and went away again and prayed for the third time, saying the same words. So he went and prayed 3 separate times. But after that third prayer, let's see what happened. Then come he to his disciples and said unto them, sleep on now, and take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hand of sinners. Rise, let us be going. Behold, he is at hand that does betray me. So we see there with the Messiah that the third time he prayed, the Father gave him the strength to go on. But he had to pray 3 separate times by himself, and he couldn't depend on his disciples because they kept falling asleep. So he was by himself in his midnight hour. And you might be by yourself in your midnight hour. See what I mean? Let's go to another version of the same story because it says some different words I want to focus on. So we're going to go to the same story about the Messiah. We're going to go to Luke's version of it. Let's go to Luke's version of it. This is Luke chapter 22. We're going to start at verse 39 and go to verse 46. Okay? Let's read this. And he came out and went as he was wont to the Mount of Olives, and his disciples also followed. And when he was at the place, he said unto them, pray that you enter not into temptation. Remember he said that before in the last verse. And he was withdrawn from them about a stone's cast, and kneeled down and prayed, saying, Father, if thou wilt be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine will be done. We have to get to that same point as well, where we don't want to do our own will. We got to do the will of the Father. Even if it's something that may trouble us or even kill us. We have to get to that point. We have to pray for strength to get to that point. All right. And there appeared an angel unto him from heaven. See, this version had a version that says something in this version that the other version didn't say. That's why I want to read this. 43. And there appeared an angel unto him from heaven, strengthening him. You see that? See what that prayer got him? And being in agony, listen to this words now. He said, in being in agony, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was as it was great drops of blood falling down to the ground. Can you imagine how he felt at that time? What kind of trouble he was going through, knowing what he would have to endure to be tortured like he was going to be tortured? Who wants to willingly go through that? Now, yes, the Messiah was perfect. He was the son of Yah, but yet he was in imperfect flesh. He was in his flesh. We felt the same pain that we feel, knowing that this was going to happen. And when he rose up from the prayer and was come to his disciples, he found them sleeping for sorrow. And he said unto them, why sleep ye? Rise and pray, lest ye also enter temptation. But we see in that version, that was a more detailed discouragement. So we see that the angel gave him strength. And we see how, he said his sweat was dropping down like blood. So we see that the Messiah had to pray 3 times to get the strength to continue and complete his mission during his midnight hour. But we are lesser than the Messiah.
That's right.
So if the Messiah went through that, what do you think you're going to go through? What do you think you're going to go through? So we have to get to the point where we rely on the Father and the Father alone in our midnight hour.
That's right.
And don't think that your midnight hour not going to happen to you. Because every man and woman on this earth have at least one situation where their midnight hour is upon them. And how are you going to react when yours is upon you? But let's go to my brother James. He's going to read something as well.
I got an addition too. This is right off of feeding off of what you just said. When the Messiah was being tempted in the wilderness, and after he got finished going back and forth with the evil one, it's Matthew 4:11, and it says basically the same thing you just said. It says, then the devil leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him. So that's another account that where as though the Most High sent angels to minister unto the Messiah after he went through something in another midnight hour for real, because that's when he was battling head up with the evil one.
Exactly.
Right there, face to face, after he showed him the kingdoms and he had to tell him to get out of his face and go away from him, Right. So that's just backing up just out the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses for real. And I wanted to go into Job, the book of Job, and my point that I wanted to make was that sometimes it's best when you're going through certain situations, it's best to go through them by yourself, because when you have people around you, sometimes they could be a hindrance and they could vex your spirit worse than you just going through it by yourself. You go to people for comfort, but they ended up making this whole situation way worse than what it would have been if it would have been just you and the Most High going through it. So it's best to just let you and the Most High go through certain things. This is Job 16, and he's rebuking his friends, basically. It says, then Job answered and said, I have heard many things. Miserable comforters are you all.
Wow.
Shall vain words have an end? Or what emboldeneth thee that thou answerest? And if you look at that in a little different translation, if anybody might not understand, it says, he said to his friends, won't you ever stop blowing hot air? What make y'all keep on talking?
Wow.
You ever go through a situation and you ask some of your friends for some advice or whatever, instead of them giving you advice or saying things that's going to comfort you, not that you want people to be a yes man or you want them to kiss you behind, but sometimes you want them to sympathize and be able to, just be there and see what you're going through,
Exactly.
And then instead of that, they tell you, I'm going to tell you where you were stupid. I'm going to tell you where you messed up, that dummy.
Right.
And just keep on just heaping more words on top of you, making the situation way worse than better.
Right.
And he said, I also could speak as you do. If your soul were in my soul's stead, like basically if you was in my place, I could do the same thing to you. He said, I could heap up words against you and shake my head at you.
Right.
So basically I could do the same thing to y'all if I was in that situation. So in that situation, it seems to me that Job was better off handling that between him and the Most High than he would have been if he was just to be in a situation with him and friends, for real, because the friends ain't make nothing better, they made it worse. And this is another situation, once again, with Job. Job's wife saw what he was going through, and his wife said this in Job 2:9. His wife said unto him, are you still holding on to your integrity? Curse God and die. And I read it from the wrong version, but you can see the King James right here.
Right.
Said, then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse the Most High and die.
Right.
That's what friends would do for you. That's what having people in this situation with you would do for you, because you might have the strength that you just going to deal with it.
Right.
And people come around and make things much worse than they make it better. I've been in personal situations the same way. Like, I've been through things where I was in basically a midnight hour of my own, and I go to friends like, hey man, I'm feeling depressed. I'm feeling like I might not make it. And instead of them giving me strength, they telling me that I shouldn't feel this way, that I don't have the right to feel this way. Like, shoot, boy, look what you got, and look what I got. Like, shit, I wish I had your problems. Let me have your problems. But them taking up saying that is not making anything any better.
Okay.
It's best to go straight to the source, to Most High, which is the one who can make a difference anyway.
Right.
You know, like nobody else really can make a difference.
Exactly.
Some people can listen. Some people are good friends who might say some confident words and make things better. But at the end of the day, the final say is with the Most High. And there's an old saying that the Most High will let you go through certain things. And so the only way that you can be delivered is by him. So that way you know it wasn't nobody but him that did it. You can't credit your friends for bringing you out of that situation. You can't credit your family members or nobody. All you can credit is the Most High. And he said himself that he's a jealous God. So sometimes he will allow us to be in situations. Go ahead.
It's funny, man. You bring it up and made me think about the situation. Remember Gideon and Gideon's army 300, where they get that story 300 from. Right. He made them get the army down to 300. He said, no, I'm not going to let y'all take credit for this.
Exactly.
You used 300 men to defeat the enemy. Exactly. So you know that it was I that did it, not your men. You know what I mean? We got to get to that point as well, where we're not on the Most High to win our battles for us, not us or anybody else.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And plus, us as a people, we always won battles that way.
Exactly.
Whenever we was in line with the Most High commandments, we didn't even have to fight.
That's
he said, just go down to the battle and I'm going to turn the enemy against themselves.
That's right.
And they end up destroying themselves. We didn't have to lift up a sword.
That's right.
But ever since we started sinning, we lost that connection to him. But we got to get that connection back, man.
And a lot of things distress you. What it say in Psalm 23? When I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. Not because I got my folks with me, not because I got some people with me, for thou art with me.
Exactly.
Thy rod and thy staff is what comforted him.
Exactly.
Not that he had a whole bunch of people with him. It say, what it say, like the horses, the vain things for safety, and the armies and stuff like that. Where is that? I'm gonna find it real quick.
Yeah.
Go ahead, talk about something.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is like you said, man. It's like, you know, we always had that connection with him. When we had that connection with him, we didn't have to worry about anything. You know, our people falling so far. You know, we don't have that kind of power that we used to have. So we got to get that kind of power back. And the first step in getting that power back is obeying Yah commandments, doing what he tells us to do. When you start doing that, you'll see that your spirituality and your ruach will increase in the sense that you can overcome things that you didn't think you would overcome. You know what I mean? So we have to get to that point where, you know, when we going through our midnight hour, we just rely on the Father and the Father alone.
Yep.
You know?
Here you go.
Okay.
It's Psalm 33 and 17. It says, a horse is a vain thing for safety. Neither shall he deliver any by his great strength. Behold, the eye of Yah is upon them that fear him, upon them that hope in his mercy, to deliver their soul from death and to keep them alive in famine. Our soul waiteth on Yah, for he is our help and our shield.
Right.
For our heart shall rejoice in him, because we have trusted in his holy name. Let thy mercy, O Yah, be upon us, according as we hope in thee. Right. So it's telling us right there to hope in the Most High, not in no multitude of people, not in no arms or no vehicles or anything that we think is powerful.
Right.
It's all in him.
Right.
Because he control all that.
Right. Yes.
He can shut all of it down. If we put too much faith or too much stock in anything, he tear that thing down right in front of our face to show us that it wasn't all of what we thought it was.
Exactly.
I mean, people was just shootouts and the gun jammed on them.
Exactly.
They thought they was good because they had a gun. That thing jammed.
You're done.
Yep.
Excellent point, man. Because you got people out here, some more people say that they don't know the Most High, or, you know, some people in the Pan-African community talking about they're going to take up arms and fight the white man and all this stuff and fight this and that. First of all, man, our people ain't never won no battle without Yah.
Exactly.
When we not in the commandments, we not doing what we supposed to do, we always get our ass whooped, man.
Every time.
And get put into slavery.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It just, but you can't tell our people. You try to explain this to them, they can't hear it, man. No. And I'm reminded that 2/3 of our people ain't gonna make it.
That's true.
It's
sad truth.
It's sad, man, but it's just that's what it is. You know, the majority of this world, man, is not going to worship the Most High, not going to follow him, man.
Right.
They're going after the way of Satan. But, man, we want to have a conversation on, you know, what are you going to do in your midnight hour? Or are you going to rely on the Most High?
Better.
Or you going to rely on your own flesh?
Ain't going to work.
Ain't going to work. Ain't going to get it done, man. But y'all be encouraged out there, man. Y'all don't give up, man. Keep increasing your faith, keep reading this book.
That's right.
And learn how to rely on the Most High and the Most High alone in your midnight hour. Shalom.
Shalom.